Vladimir Putin threatens to cut off Germany from its energy source, and the Russian government defaults on its international debt. Welcome to Disrupt. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. With all the feedback we got yesterday, we are fighting back against the wokeism. We are going to be saying ladies and gentlemen. It is civilized, isn't it? So it's the little things, the tiny victories, especially with all the chaos happening around the world and in this country, with Rishi Sunak and Boris Johnson being fined, the fixed penalty notice, everyone's having a panic. We have Putin to deal with. We got Zelensky with his dance moves and selfie videos. And Klaus Schwab, I have no idea where he is, but I'm guessing Schwab is also doing something with his cats like a Bond villain. So the whole world is in chaos. Well, we are here to keep you guys, slightly happier, just a little bit. We do have to talk about all the bad things, but we also have to give you some sort of hope, because we are still fighting back. There is still a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's a good light, not a bad light. At least comparing to places like Germany. Let's talk about Germany, because we have been discussing it recently about the dependency on Russian oil and gas. But it's not just because we always talk about Germany and Europe, the EU being dependent on Putin. It's a problem of the West, where we've essentially been too dependent on not just Russia, but also certain other energy sources from certain countries that used to be our puppets. Some of them still technically our puppets, but you can't completely rely on that, because at one point, it was easy for us to control the Middle East and take all the oil and gas and everything. But there will be a time when everything will backfire. Right now, Putin is threatening Germany with a complete cutoff from its energy source. And so the German government, it's their fault. Don't just blame Putin. It's their fault. Why? Because for years, they had no alternative options. They decided to say no to nuclear, and because they just feel guilty, they're too scared. And the green lobby, I hate to call it the green lobby because nuclear is green, but they don't talk about that. The hippie globalist lobby, who want to turn everything into the inefficient renewable energy sources, they've been winning in Germany. They've been dominating the argument. So they've been shutting down every other alternative option that they could have had to help Germany for the future. And I wonder why. Everything is in chaos. You have no options. So the German government have told their people, well, we have to prepare for a dark future. Because if Putin presses a button, then the German people will be in trouble. And it's not just Germany. There's a lot of other places across the EU. The European Union is still so dependent that if they send €1 million to Ukraine to support them, they're also sending tens and hundreds of millions of euros to Russia for energy. So it's a bit of a problem for the European community. We're talking about a time when the map is changing every single day. And so we got the red areas that's under the Kremlin control, and then you've got the yellow areas, which is basically regained control from, Ukraine's regained control from Russia. And the red arrows are supposed to be the route that the Team Putin have towards mainland Ukraine. So it does keep changing, and it's quite difficult to actually get the proper picture because the mainstream media are trying not to spread too much rumors, right? they're trying to be very, very mature about all this, very objective. The mainstream media are definitely not spreading propaganda from either side. Yeah, we're getting the bigger picture, right? It's the same with what's happening right now in Downing Street with Boris and Rishi. So you have one side calling for a general election, and one side saying it's a criminal conviction. Okay, today the Met issued the fine to Downing Street to put both Boris and Rishi. There are two facts. Fact number one, it's not a criminal conviction. Fact number two, Boris and politicians are liars, incompetent, and they are hypocrites. But they are all separate. They don't have to go hand in hand. So it's not a criminal conviction, but it's on a moral level, it's very, very bad. So which means that the voters have the power to fire their politicians at the election. That's what we do. That's called democracy. And even though the system is very, very flawed, but that's the power that we have. So Femi was going around on Twitter, Ramona Femi, saying we need an election now. Boris resign, election now. I'm like, that won't solve anything, especially in the middle of chaos. If you're really angry with the current government, and I've been very, very critical of the policies of this government, then we'll just wait for the election and we'll see if there are any options. And as I said, the system is flawed, so we're going to end up with the same two blue and red teams anyway. So it's a bit of a challenge for the voters in this country. So the problem I have is going back to Germany is that no one in the mainstream media are blaming the European Union or Germany. In this country, BBC News, Sky News, all of them, every single channel, they're not really saying it was the fault of the European West, all of us, that created this chaos. So I'm going to go to our political editor, Peter Barnes, to discuss this matter because it's such a weird surprise. It's a massive surprise that mainstream media are being a bit biased about this. Well, we're joined by Peter Barnes, our political editor. What is going on with Germany? I mean, they've been so dependent on Russian gas that now Putin could just press the button, switch them off. And of course, it goes back to years of dependency and rejecting nuclear, right?
Oh, 100%. This is one of the major problems that the West has had is short-termism. You know, we haven't really thought any longer than at the end of our noses for about the last 30, 40 years. And now all our chickens are coming home to roost and we're now paying the price for it. Germany no more so than anyone else. You know, I think the Labour Party just last week were calling... you had the shadow energy minister saying we should be rationing gas supplies. And then he did kind of correct himself in like the very next interview that he gave. He says, "Oh no, I didn't mean that." But no, this is the major problem. You know, we are dependent on Russian energy. We're dependent on foreign nations for our power, and unfortunately, this could have all been avoided if we'd have actually thought about some of this stuff long term. But we just didn't, and now unfortunately, we're now stuck in this situation where we're funding the very regime that we're sanctioning at the same time. You know, I think it's about I watched something in America the other day, and they say it's about $1 billion a day Russia's getting in energy supplies, and the sanctions aren't even that strong anymore. If you look at the ruble, for example, it's already recovered to basically its levels that it was at before the Ukraine crisis hit. You know. The sanctions started off great, but we haven't kept them going hard enough. We haven't really done anything hard enough. And yeah, Germany's now stuck in this situation where it's going to have power outages and all the rest of it. And I don't think Germany's going to be the only Western country that this is going to happen to.
When it comes to especially Germany and these countries rejecting the idea of nuclear, and certain other countries with extracting their own gas from their own lands, it goes to the argument that Caroline Lucas made on BBC on Sunday, saying that, you know, the UK, we don't need nuclear power. We'll just use the windmills and things like that and solar power. And like, that will be enough. Isn't the same problem, same mistake that Germany made, that Caroline Lucas is making? It's
100% the same problem. You know, we keep thinking that, you know, the wind power and solar energy is going to be some kind of wonderful cure-all. You know, it's going to instantly replace our entire energy dependency. And I'm just like, it's the dumbest argument you can make. You know, you've even got some people in Extinction Rebellion and in more kind of environmentally friendly organizations saying people need to stop making that argument, that actually, if you're really serious about tackling climate change, if you're really serious about wanting to hit net zero, you should be advocating for nuclear power. You know, and I think me and you have spoken about this so many times, saying, what is wrong with these people that they just can't see what's happening all around them?
It is quite sad and embarrassing, considering the US is still in a better situation because under Trump, they push for extracting their own gas. Even right now, the price is going up. It's still much lower than the UK and the European Union. So maybe we should learn something from Uncle Donald. But thanks again, Peter Barnes, for joining us. Well, I think that's the key point, isn't it? This is the graph. This is the gas prices, the change. And we are seeing an increase in the UK, in the European Union, and in the United States of America. But can you tell a tiny bit of difference? Look at America, the blue line. That has happened because of years of good policies around extracting gas from American gas, and of course also making sure they have alternative sources, including nuclear, around the country. And this was actually pushed massively by Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump, President Trump, made sure that there is absolute, the country is prepared for any situation, and make sure just diversifying your portfolio of your energy source is actually definitely helpful. You can see the massive difference between February and March. The green and red lines, the UK and the European Union, completely surpassed the US lines, and this is not going to be easy to fix, and this is going to take some time. We are talking about fracking. We are now talking about nuclear, smaller nuclear plants, but it will still take some time to fix this. We are going to come back tomorrow with more updates on the Ukraine brief and the disrupt. But this takes us to the new segment that we have, your comments. Every day at the end of disrupt with Ukraine brief, we go to the previous show, the day before, and we'll find the most popular comments from you guys that you made under the video, and we'll kind of read them out. So you guys are also involved in this show. So we have Aidan Brannan. Aidan says, this was about Boris Johnson's visit to Ukraine, saying Boris will have more respect. Aidan will have more respect for Boris if he would visit Kent Coast to see all the illegals he is helping to invade. If only, I've been saying this for now 2 years, that Priti Patel coming out to complain about, I'm trying to do my best to sort out the illegal migration and all the boats, and say, it's Macron's fault, it's the smugglers' fault. That's always been there. If you really want to do something about this, improve your PR, improve your communications, come out there, have regular press conferences, give us the latest data and numbers. In fact, what they did was the exact opposite. The Home Office are no longer going to be publishing daily figures. They want to hide the numbers of illegal migrants coming in. Get out there. If you want to do PR stunts, stunts and any sort of publicity, any sort of media work, do it like this. And people will, like Aidan, will have more respect for you, Prime Minister. Lulu says, we're giving Ukraine the same amount of money as my gas and electric bill. Lulu, spot on. To be fair, I do live in London, and I've seen the massive change. The next bill that I'm going to get, it's going to make me go bankrupt, guys. It's going to be quite tricky living in London as well, with all the power I'm using right now. I've got my camera here, I've got my lights here, I've got the laptop here, I've got TV in the background. It's just absolutely chaotic. So you guys, you all know that all the issues that we're facing, the amount of money we're sending to Ukraine, as Lou said, is basically the same amount that we're going to be paying rent for bills. Mick says, the Australian federal government were very quick to send equipment to Ukraine when they requested assistance, but very slow in helping Australian citizens affected by floods. Yes, that is a very good point. Everything is about virtue signaling on a diplomatic international level, because they have to do it to impress each other. All these governments, global governments, go hang around in the United Nations rooms and be like, oh, hello, Ukraine. Hello, Australia. How much are you going to help us? Oh, yeah, well, what did the UK do? Oh, the UK did this. Fine, well, we'll send this amount of money as well. Doesn't really matter that our own people are affected by crises like floods and everything else, and we told them to stay at home to protect their NHS. So Mick is absolutely spot on. So this was our new segment, your comments. Each video, at the end of each episode of Disrupt the Ukraine Brief, we pick the last video's top comments, the most popular comments. There you guys have. So definitely get involved, join the game, and let me know if you could reach a very, very funny level, and with a lot of likes in your comments if you actually manage to get to your comments section. Thank you again for all the support. I was Tousi, and this was Disrupt.